Hi, my name's Destiny Bell, and today I'll be talking about the political comparison of Egypt, Germany, and Japan. I'm going to be breaking these down into three parts. So, the first part I'm going to be talking about is current forms of government. The second half is going to be political and civic culture comparison, and the third and last part is going to be ideological and political belief structure comparison. The background is pretty basic stuff. Egypt is on the continent of Africa. Germany is on the continent of Europe. Excuse me. And Japan is on the continent of Asia. Okay, on page 4, we have past century political unrest. In Egypt, we see the Persians, Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, and Islam all take over Egypt at some point. They gain their independence from England. They protest in the Arab Spring in 2011. And in 2014, their military leader takes over their country. So that's pretty insane to me. Germany, the Romans, Franks, and Saxons all conquered Germany as well at some point in time. They had strong Germanic culture. They lost the World War II, but created a new government. Japan, they started trading with the US in 1854. They conquered China, Russia, and Korea. And just like Germany, they lost the World War II, but created a new government from it. Current forms of government comparison, and these are all recent topics. Excuse me, these are all recent. In Egypt, they have presidential Democratic Republican government. In 2014, Abdel El-Sisi was in control of the military, and he actually took over and is now the ruler of the country. In Germany, they have federal parliamentary republic. Um, the president is the ceremonial head of state, and the chancellor is the head of the government elected by the Bundestag. In Japan, they have a parliamentary constitutional monarchy. Um, they have an emperor and monarch. They have hereditary and primary ceremonial. The prime minister has executive power appointed by the Congress, and all three have bicameral, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, parliamentary governments with the democratic constitutions. Right here, it's just the forms of the government map, ideology maps, and light blue, we see that they have a high level of freedom, high degree of freedom. Let me see if I can point to this. Right here, we have Japan and, excuse me, right, right here, we have Germany. Both Japan and Germany have a high degree of freedom, and right here, we have, goodness, right here we have Egypt, and they're ruled by an authoritarian government, so they're very regulated, monitored, not like Japan and Germany. If I could fix this, it'd be great. Okay. Constitution, civil rights. On page 7. Equal rights, all three are clearly stated in the constitutions, but in Egypt, they have thousands of political prisoners. Freedom of expression, all three state that in their constitutions, but they have Islamic influence in Egypt. You can't say they don't have freedom of expression because you can go to jail, you can face treason, fines, things like that. Voting rights at 18, all clearly in the constitution, but in Egypt, it's mandatory to vote at the age of 18. Okay. Part 2, political and civic culture comparison. Political and civic cultures are based on the political beliefs, aspirations, and social values of citizens. In Egypt, they have an Islamic majority and a small Christian minority. They have mandatory voting, penalties of fines, imprisonment, military, nationalistic, dominated governments. In Germany, they're more concerned with the social welfare of citizens and businesses. They're more concerned on the service side. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Social corporatism and structure, they're all about the way things should be, and organization. They have national pride. In Japan, they have a strong sense of community and solidarity. They promote freedom, peace, and prosperity, and they have a great sense of pride in their history and culture. Okay. Social movements. Japanese parents protested against the radiation from nuclear energy after the Fukushima power plant disaster. So Germany saw this, and students actually protested to get rid of power plants, and that's when the energy translation phase was passed through Germany because of it, because of the protests. So you guys see how strong protests can be if we actually stand with it. I just thought that was cool. Okay. Human rights. Monday demonstrations in East Germany led to the fall of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of the East and West Germany in 1990. Japan regularly holds protests over human trafficking and racial ethnic discrimination. Lack of traction in Egypt. They have booming population growth, poverty, climate control, problems with militaristic government, struggles to organize, mobilize, force underground due to arrest, imprisonment, brutality trials, and executions. Another thing I thought was pretty says a lot. Freedom House rated Egypt's level of freedom 18 out of 100, primarily because of authoritarian rule. Okay. Reminder: government is much more than institutions, buildings, and law. It is how people, as society, bring their political, civic culture to life. And this is the formula for foundations of democracy. Right here we have voter participation, and as you can see, Japan has 54%, Germany has 77%, and Egypt surprisingly has 29%. I was pretty surprised by that sense of things their people face if they don't follow the rules. Okay, if I could move this, that's great. Excuse me. I fixed it. I just wanted to read you this. There are many reasons citizens vote or do not vote, and we cannot make assumptions about voter participation as they do not always show political satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Low voter turnouts does not necessarily show a lack of interest, but may actually indicate high levels of government satisfaction. Unusually high voter turnouts could mean a disgruntled population seeking change. Okay, last part 3. Ideological and political belief structures. In Egypt, their party is NFP, Party Nation, a Nation's Party Future. Their ideology is Egyptian nationalism, militaristic, Islamic, and all three are economically liberal. Their political focuses are on infrastructure projects, economy, poverty, military conflicts such as Gaza. In Germany, their party is CDU, Christian Democratic Union. Their ideology is national conservatism, sorry, I already told you that. Political focus, national security, aligning economy and immigration. In Japan, their party is LPD. And let me just pause me and move me out of the way. And their ideology is conservative, center right. Their political focuses are leadership changes, government budget, and inflation. Okay, most recent elections. So in December 2023, President Sisi won again with 89.6% of the vote, and runner-up only got 4.5 of the vote. I'm pretty sure this guy dropped out of the race because of the violence and he was facing and feared for his life. So, in Germany, this is very, very recent, February 25. The more leftists in coalition government in Germany lost a vote of no confidence in December of last year. They just had an election on February 23rd. On the more conservative CDU party led by the Friedrich Merz won the election. They will have the most seats in the Bundestag, but not the majority because they have so many parties. Um, Frederick Merz will most likely be the next chancellor and will be working on creating a coalition government. And Japan, October 2024. In the general election last October, LPD and the Prime Minister, excuse me if I'm saying this wrong, Kishida, lost the majority in the lower house for the first time in 15 years. The new Prime Minister, Ishiba, was elected, and as in Germany, the LDP still the most seats, but not the majority because the number of parties. Okay, foreign policy. All three value their relationship with the US economically and politically. They all have concerns concerning the superpowers, and the neighbors, protecting the borders, building military, nuclear weapons, and power concerns. Germany, is concerned with Russia-Ukraine invasion and part of EU, Japan, China patrolling South China Sea with US and Asian partners, Egypt, unsettled Middle East, Gaza, things like that. All three facing increasing cost of living, inflation, promises of government. So these are the promises the government made to their countries. So Egypt, they promised to have national security building, new republic, they're building a new capital. Germany, they promised to lower taxes for individuals and businesses, affordable energy, local agriculture relief. Japan, they promised stimulus package for the poor, wage increases, utilities subsides, and small business support. Me personally, I kind of like Germany and Japan. Just saying. Okay. Social issues. Egypt, by now you know, strict government controls, Islamic guidelines, maintain security, difficulty organizing. Germany has immigration issues. They have language assimilation, language classes. Like for immigrants, they're trying to assimilate them into their culture, language, things like that. Um, no nuclear power, strong Green Party supporting the environment and global warming. Japan immigration encourages foreign workers who can fill labor shortages. They support LGBT rights, and the Green Party protecting the environment. And my conclusion, Egypt, Germany, and Japan. Both have three rich cultures, very different parts of the world, three constitutional democracies, all with bicameral parliaments, two formed after World War I, just 11 years ago. All three have heavy focus on nationalism, but very different political and civic cultures. With recent world events, elections, all three in state of change and moving more towards the right and conservatism, an exciting time in the world politics. See how these three manage their way through their upcoming challenges. These are just my works cited. If you want to go through these, it's kind of a lot. It's like page 20. But thank you for listening. I enjoyed this. This was fun. Thank you so much for your time.